If you get the call saying your mother's making lasagna on Sunday and you miss Sunday dinner, you're gonna get the Italian guilt real bad. So today we're making lasagna. Now, if you ask any Italian, lasagna is probably on their top 5 favorite foods of all time. In my family, we only eat lasagna on special holidays. For some reason, I don't really know why, but if your mother truly loves you, she'll make it for you every Sunday. And God forbid you miss the Sunday dinner, that Italian guilt will creep up on you and you'll feel bad for the whole month. My Italians know about that Italian guilt. Anyways, I'm not gonna overtalk it. We're gonna make the best lasagna you ever had in your life. I'm sure everybody says that. Without further ado, let's get to cooking. Making a delicious lasagna is actually quite easy to do. You can always make it a couple days ahead of time and then cook it for your Sunday dinner. The most important step in making lasagna is making the sauce. If you don't make a good sauce, you're not going to have a good lasagna. We're going to start off by using 80-20 ground beef. You can use ground pork, ground veal, but I like to use just ground beef. We're going to form them into little meatballs. Then in a large pan on high heat, we're going to add 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil. And once the oil starts to shimmer, you're going to add your meatballs. Let the meatballs sear for about 2 minutes per side. We're not looking for perfection. We just want to develop a nice crust on the meat to give our sauce some good flavor. Then we're going to break up the meatballs into small pieces and season with a little salt and black pepper. Once the ground meat is cooked about 90% of the way done, go ahead and remove from the pot and set aside. Now we're going to reduce the heat of the pan to medium and add another 2 tablespoons of olive oil. We're going to add 3 or 4 shallots that we peeled and finely diced, and we're going to let that cook for a few minutes until they caramelize slightly, along with a little pinch of salt. Once the shallots are caramelized, we're going to go in with our dry spices. We're going to add about a half a teaspoon of some red chili flake, a teaspoon of fennel seeds, a tablespoon of dried oregano, and 2 teaspoons of dried thyme. Next, we're going to add about 4 to 5 garlic cloves that we peeled and minced up nice and fine, and we're going to let that saute for 1 to 2 minutes until the dried spices and garlic are nice and fragrant. Now we're going to go in with 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. Now with the tomato paste, you have to make sure you caramelize it, or bloom it as they say. So once the tomato paste changes color, we're going to deglaze the pan with 1 cup of a dry white wine. Bring the wine to a gentle simmer and let reduce completely until all the wine is evaporated. Now we're going to go in with 84 ounces of good tomato sauce, which is 3 28-ounce cans. Give the sauce a stir until everything's combined, then season with a little salt and black pepper. Now we're going to add a bunch of fresh basil, which happens to be my favorite herb. Tear up the basil in your hands and add it to the sauce, then give it a mix until combined. Now we're going to add the ground beef back to the pot that we seared up earlier and incorporate it back into the sauce. Now a lot of times I find that the sauce is a little too tart, so I like to add a little bit of sugar. Add the sugar to your taste to help sweeten up the sauce and give it balance. Give the sauce one final mix, bring to a gentle simmer, then cover with the lid and let cook for 1 to 2 hours. Now I like to use a nice ricotta mixture for my lasagna, so in a large bowl we're going to combine 2 pounds of a good ricotta cheese, a half a cup of Parmesan cheese that we freshly grated earlier, 2 teaspoons of onion powder, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, a 1/4 a cup of chopped parsley, and a 1/4 a cup of chopped basil. Now we're going to crack in 2 whole eggs. It's about 1 egg per pound of ricotta. Then season with a little salt, black pepper, and optionally add some red pepper flake for some heat. Then give your ricotta mixture a final mix till everything's combined, then place in the fridge until you're ready to use. Now there's 3 types of lasagna noodles to choose from. You can either make your own from scratch, there's the ones you have to boil, or there's even oven-ready lasagna noodles. Since we're using the regular ones, we're going to bring some water to a boil and generously season with salt. We're going to drop the noodles in and let them boil for around 6 to 8 minutes. We want them to be undercooked, less than al dente, because they're going to cook the rest of the way in the oven. Then drain the lasagna noodles in a colander and immediately run under cold water to stop the cooking process. Set the noodles aside until you're ready to use. Now let's move on to building our lasagna. In a 9x13 casserole dish, lightly spray it with cooking spray to prevent the lasagna from sticking. Then we're going to go down with a thin layer of our meat sauce, followed by our lasagna noodles that are cut to fit the pan, all going in the same direction. Then we're going to go down with a nice thin layer of a ricotta mixture, followed by another layer of our meat sauce. Then we're going to top with some mozzarella cheese that we freshly grated earlier. Now for the second layer, we're going to add the lasagna noodles in the opposite direction of our first layer. Then it's pretty simple. We're going to repeat the process with our ricotta, some of our sauce, mozzarella cheese, then start the third layer with the lasagna noodles going horizontally again, then ricotta, sauce, mozzarella, and then freshly grated Parmesan cheese on top. Now we're going to take a piece of foil and spray it with a little cooking spray to prevent the cheese from sticking to it. Then we're going to cover the lasagna tightly in the foil and place that on a baking sheet just in case it bubbles over. I recommend doing this or else you're going to spend hours cleaning your oven. Place the lasagna in the oven on the middle rack, set to 375 degrees Fahrenheit for about 40 minutes. After the 40 minutes, go ahead and remove the foil and continue to bake for another 15 minutes or until nice and golden brown. Now this is very important. Once the lasagna is cooked, you have to let it rest for 25 to 30 minutes before you slice into it. If you slice into it any sooner, while it'll still taste good, the lasagna will fall apart and you won't be able to get good slices out of it. Now we're going to garnish with some chopped parsley and fresh basil and get ready to dig in. I hope you all enjoy this recipe. If you end up making it, please leave me a comment. Let's give it a try. One bite. Man, do I love fresh basil. You know, if there's one thing I could do, your boy can make sauce. If somebody had a gun to my head and said, I want you to make one dish, I'd make sauce. A little bit of sweetness, not too much. You taste the thyme, you taste the fennel. My grandmother would be proud of me, man. It's so freaking good. It's got just the right amount of cheese. It's not soupy. That's another thing. Some lasagnas, they come out soupy. They're really watery. This is well put together. It stayed together. That's partly due to the eggs being in the ricotta cheese. Anyways, you guys have to give this a try. It's perfectly balanced. Make it over Christmas. Make it for your uncle's birthday. Make it for your grandmother's birthday. Make it for your niece's baptism. Make it for your fourth cousin's communion party. Whatever you gotta do, try this lasagna. You will not be disappointed. Come on, you wanna try my lasagna? Huh? Here, just give it a try. What, you don't wanna eat my lasagna?
Wow.
Anyways, I'm gonna bring this over. I got a whole tray of this thing. I'm gonna bring this over for Sunday dinner tomorrow because the last time they had lasagna was probably 2 years ago when my grandmother passed away. God rest her soul. Anyways, I love my grandmother. I love my family. They're gonna eat this tomorrow. I want you guys to have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video or you learned something, give me a like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.